Rosset.
First set, Rossetski to serve.
Reminder, it's the best of 5 sets. The final of Antwerp, Rossetski serving.
Out. 15 left. Out. 30 left.
Rosset even struggling to time the second serve, perhaps too early on that one. Rossetski gets a first serve in and wins the opening game of the match to love.
First game.
I think the remarkable thing to me about Greg at the moment, Drew, is that he's really winning all the points that matter. I mean, he was in trouble against Arazi, who we know is such a talented player, in the first round. He lost his way in the second set, was struggling to hold serve, saved a break point, came from love 30 down in the next service game, then 5 match points saved against Raux. He's just now got into that top player's mentality of not being frightened of the big points.
Well, I think there's a lot to that. I think, of course, he's come a long way. There's been a terrific maturing process in Rusedski's game in the last year. And so that, in a way, one can almost discount the 2 matches in which Rosset has beaten him, because that was another Rusedski. We're now seeing a very different man. A man, of course, who's basing his game on his serve, as does Rosset, but has a greater inner belief in himself, which is why, of course, he's able to win the important points of a match.
Rosset, who used to have the record for the fastest serve.
Well, you can see from that rally why some of the points here might be rather longer than you would anticipate between these two.
30 left.
And immediately it seems to me that Rosset is a little bit more comfortable on a slow court, getting his first serve in, whereas Rossetski missed 3 of 4.
40 left.
That was a terrific second serve from Rosset, and so both men start with a love service game.
Game Rosset, 1-all.
And there is a mentality that you have, of course, if you're playing on a specific surface, and I mentioned the slowness. You've got to bear in mind Rosset, a semi-finalist in the French. Now, if Rusedski reached the semi-final of the French this year, well, anything could happen. There'd be huge celebrations. And really, there's no reason why he shouldn't. It's just a matter of developing that sort of mentality.
15 left.
And I suppose those are the stop tactics against Rosset. Go into the backhand.
The only thing you want to be a little wary of course, is playing it into form, but it hasn't happened over the years. In that so many people have attacked Rosset's backhand, and it still remains a real weakness.
There's the first point against the serve, and Rusedski no first serves in this game so far, so only 1 of 7 so far in the match. He took a lot of pace off that one.
30 on. Forty 30. Left. Second serve.
Seems to me Rossetski is dropping that right arm just a little too soon on the serve. And that's the sort of thing that can happen on a surface that isn't quite to your liking.
That's a great pass, and it brings Rosset the first break point.
Well, Rosset neglecting to use his left hand here, playing the one-handed backhand. I thought he'd been a little lazy early in the game doing that, but absolute beauty there.
Well, that's the stock in trade, isn't it, for the left-hander, the swinging one out wide and the solid backhand volley behind it.
And particularly when you have got a slightly suspect shot there. No harm in going there all the time, really.
Well, paid the price for not putting the high volley away. And a second break point.
Good bit of anticipating by Rosset because Rusedski closed on the net nicely for the forehand volley.
Yes.
First ace.
And taking a lot of speed off this one, but you can see here really getting it in the ideal spot. He slowed up the one earlier, but played it right to Rosset. That's the real danger. If he plays it short and continues to come in, which he'll be looking to do, this will unsettle him. It gives Rosset time to run around the backhand.
Third chance to break.
Yes. Advantage Rusedski.
If he can get in a really high percentage of those serves without taking much pace off it, then he's in good shape. But once he has to take pace off to get it in, he's playing into Rosset's hands.
Game Rusedski.
Well, again, Rossetski plays the important points well, staves off 3 break points, and he leads 2-1 in the first set.
The C-Class is now even more attractive, safe and comfortable. Formula One driver Mika Häkkinen is testing whether it's also faster.
Tomorrow, tennis.
No.
Don't worry, you haven't missed any of the action, just the Belgian TV host broadcasters showing a replay from that previous game. A little bit Stefan Oberer, coach of Marc Rosset. Been together a long time. It's been a long-standing partnership. In fact, I can't ever remember seeing Marc, and he's, what, 27 now, with another coach. Can you, Phil?
No, he's been very faithful.
Olympic champion, of course, of 1992.
On clay.
Really slow clay, too.
Yeah.
Second serve.
Rosset's actually served more double faults this week than Rusedski. And remember, he's played 1 match less. Prior to the match, he'd served 29 to Rusedski's 26.
Love 15.
Incidentally, if you're worried about the buzz you're hearing in your ears, I'm afraid the air conditioning system is a little antiquated and it makes an awful din. Nothing to do with your television or anything like that.
Love 13.
Oh, really helping Rossetski now with the errant forehands. That's the last thing he wants to do, is give Rossetski 3 points.
Well, it's a fine return from Rusedski, and now he has break points.
Love 14.
Yes, taking some of the pace off the return, but forcing Rosset to play it on the half volley and setting up a lot of time for the forehand. He's really got to keep the pressure on here. It's almost as if Rosset was concentrating about the loose thread in his shirt for the first 2 points. Taking a while to get into the game.
Well, it's a fine pass, but I'm surprised that Rossetski was sort of stuck to the spot here.
Yes, he didn't make much move. He certainly played almost the perfect approach shot, because that one was going away from Rosset as well. And there's the thread in question, and he certainly threaded that one past Rusedski.
Yes.
A real psychological edge now suddenly with Rosset, having fought his way out of that hole.
It's a real opportunity. The mishit return had really opened it up.
And we may get another look at it. You can see the way Rossetski playing that. He's actually playing the ball far too close to his body. He's not giving his arm enough room, enough freedom to really swing at it. Yes, whether he's come out here in a brand new shirt. Yvonne Lendl, who's won that racket here before, used to play every match, I think it was, in a brand new shirt.
Yes.
Well, another forehand error, 3 of them in this game from Rosset. That is surprising.
Of course, Lendl in these shirts, he had cupboards full of them. Had a massive contract with Adidas.
Yep, nice touch from the big man. Not very often is Greg Rusedski dwarfed on a tennis court. He's 6'3", 1m90, but Marc Rosset 6'7", 2 meters and 1 centimeter. Well, both of them have staved off 3 break points, and we stay on serve, 2-all.
He's got that air about him very often in a match, Rosset, where he looks almost half there, as if he's disinterested, and really gave Rossetski the opportunity to make the early break. And now, as I say, having fought back from that position, he's now definitely got the edge. Well, it'll be important to watch the Rusedski volleying as this match unfolds, because he's going to have to do quite a bit more of it than on a faster surface. In that, Rosset is going to get to quite a few of the volleys. He's going to have to play some difficult ones, and of course those are the volleys that tend to distinguish you or not.
He certainly let rip on that serve.
30-15.
207 kilometers an hour, that is. Yep, these are the volleys that are going to decide it. Not an easy one, far from it. But he's going to have to make them if he's going to win the match.
And what Rosset is doing is he's playing the majority of his backhands, which is normally two-handed. He'd play the odd 1/8 with one hand. He's playing the majority now with one hand. And made 3 really pretty successful ones, so he'll continue, I imagine.
40-30. Rusedski.
Second ace from Rossetski.
Rossetski leads 3-2.
And we remain on serve, but it will certainly been an interesting opening 20 minutes, and both men with 3 break points.
Yes, I think they've done well, really. Oh, finally he's going to do the little bit of surgery there. I think they've done well to slow down the court, to at least make it possible for them to have a few more ground strokes. Had it been the same sort of surface that we had in Split, well, it doesn't create ridiculous tennis, because Rusedski, even Isovic, has a fascination of its own, but I think this is better all-round tennis, and I think most of the fans out there would agree that they want to see a few more ground strokes in an indoor court, and this is certainly providing it.
Talking to some of the players who've had a hit on the court in Battersea Park next week. It was a temporary structure put up. It looks very impressive. They're saying it's quite slow. It's not as slow as Antwerp. And the big difference is that whereas in Antwerp it's a high bouncing court, in Battersea Park it's quite a low bouncing court.
Well, that'll suit the as it were, the grass court specialist. Grass, of course, tends to bounce pretty low. People with slice approaches will be using it, and it'll certainly help the big servers.
Rosset, originally from Geneva, and now, like so many of the players, having a base in Monte Carlo. 2-3. He's missed one.
Yes, he's missed one, and Rusedski's made one. Rossetski making this shot here. That's a slightly difficult volley because the ball was quite low. He had to either find a lot of pace or find depth, and he certainly found depth. Now, when it comes to power off the ground, Rosset's forehand, well, I think you could combine Rusedski's 2 shots and he wouldn't have as much power in them. Interesting to watch him returning now. It's almost as if shots got him doing a bit of an Edberg. The way he stood back, it certainly did on the left court, and then almost tripped in towards the service line.
An interesting feature is how much more successful in finals Rosset's been. They've both lost 7 finals. Rusedski's won 5, and Rosset's won 12. So he's got a good win-to-loss ratio in finals.
Yes, 2 years older, of course.
.40-15.
Give me another 2 years and I'll show them.
Game Rosset. Three games on.
A rally really that highlighted Rosetski's inability to get great pace off the ground. And that's an area of the game, really, where he needs to find more power. He wastes a lot of power because he plays the ball with a lot of spin. Although it seems to me he's trying to use a bit more wrist here, trying to get more pace.
15 left.
Now, was that an ace through, or did he get an outside edge?
I would give him not out if he were in cricket, so I put it down as an ace.
Okay. It's on a day that was not exactly full of Welsh success on the sporting front. Good to see Robert Croft amongst the wickets in Guyana. Oh! Well, that one-handed backhand is working a treat, particularly cross-court.
Yes, his problem is he's playing his one-handed pretty well. Now, when it comes to returning on the second serve and Rusedski bounces us up, he wants then to remember to use the two hands on it, because he's not going to get much leverage from a high bouncing ball. I don't think. He may prove me wrong. Now, there was the one-handed attempt, and that one wasn't bouncing high, but it just shows. I think he's got to get his mind working a little bit more quickly as Rosset. He used the one hand by all means. It's been very successful off the ground, but on the return of serve, try to use the two.
Rossetski.
Well, Rosset not convinced about that serve, but no call.
He leads 4-3.
And Rusedski leads 4-3. Terrific lineup, we should mention, in Battersea next week at the Guardian Direct Cup. The seeds are Peter Korda, Patrick Rafter, Yevgeny Kavalnikov, Greg Rossetski, Richard Krajcek, Sergei Bruguera, Karol Kuchera, and Goran Ivanisevic. It's not a bad lineup. Tim Henman, of course, not had the luck of the draw, having lost his last 4 first-round matches. Comes up against Richard Krajcek, but in a way, because for the first time he's the lower ranked player, perhaps less pressure on him.
Yes, I agree. It may just be the break. It could be a bad break, but it may be the making of Henman. He needs something like that to give him a bit of a spurt, a bit of a lift.
And obviously have the crowd to lift him, and memories of their last match at London and Wimbledon last year, which he won. Stephen Over, who also acts as Swiss Davis Cup captain, as of course Tony Pickard used to do. He used to be the British Davis Cup captain. Three-four new balls.
It remains some of the best one-handed play I've seen from Rosset yet.
Funny enough, I remember him playing a lot of one-handers in last year's final when you were laid up at the time.
I watched it there.
On your back, literally.
15 on.
First double fault from the Swiss.
In fact, watched the event so much that I found it unbelievable that Rosset got to the final, because he was out of sorts against Korda. Korda seemed to be beating him and handling him rather comfortably. But squeezed by.
Peter Korda, who was the top seed here, but lost in 3 sets to Karol Kuchera in the quarters. Rossetski beating Kuchera in the semis. Disappointment there for Peter Korda, because If he'd made it through to the final, he would be today playing for the #1 ranking in the world. Would have overtaken Sampras if he'd won this tournament.
Wow. A real opportunity lost. And talking of opportunities lost, not a first serve in by Rosset. Rusedski's just got to make a bit more of this. This is a court, the green set court typically takes quite a bit of slice. The ball keeps fairly low here as well.
Two doubles in the game and another opportunity for Rusedski to break.
Yes.
Well, once again, it's Rosset sort of partly self-destructing and then just saving himself from being blown to blitz in the nick of time with what is really a more typical serve.
Well, good defensive play from Rusedski. It is a massive auditorium and you can lob very high. Rosset equal to it.
Yes, he did well here because you can see, being wrong-footed, he was off balance, had to actually steady himself with his right hand there, and did well to present Rosset with quite a difficult smash.
Yeah. Good point here from Rusedski because it was a good service return and he took advantage of that. He's always looking to move forward. And I think obviously you've got to play some approaches to the forehand of Rosset and take on the strengths.
Well, that was certainly the different strategy there highlighted. Rosset probably a little fooled by that approach. You'd normally expect players to come in on his backhand side, almost be leaning over to that wing. You can see Rusedski trying to get the purchase on that slice because he knows the ball keeps low. He wants to keep Rosset bending down for it. On the other hand, if he's just going to play it low and stay back, it's not going to hurt Rosset that much.
Again, Rosset holds off the break point. Rusedski's had 4, Rosset's had 3. But the first 8 games have come and gone without a break of serve. 33 minutes they've been playing.
Certainly pretty undecided about his choice of rackets here, Rosset. Really, his problem has been the percentage of first serves. Well, it's interesting to look at the two players and just sense their different attitude to the game. Rusedski much more of the predator, than Rosset, because Rosset had the opportunity to come in behind a backhand and didn't, much preferring to play from the back of the court, which of course is one of the reasons why he can do so well on clay. Rusedski always looking to come in more.
The second successive point in which Rusedski has really hit through a backhand ground shot. Sometimes you see him do that on the pass, but not so often on the baseline rally. His turn to struggle with first serves, none so far in this game.
Well, Rosset saying, doing what I said he doesn't really enjoy doing all that much. And Rusedski taxing him here. That's a fine shot, taking all the pace off the backhand. If there is a fault in your technique, it's going to be illustrated if you are given no pace.
And another drive backhand, and I'm tempted to say almost the best drive backhand I've seen from Greg over the years, because I certainly wasn't expecting that when it was off a high ball down the line. He really went for it. Love service game. Rusedski leads 5-4.
Well, of course, it was at this stage last year, just about having got to the final of Zagreb, it was then, that he then went on to get to the final of San Jose. And it was in that match against Sampras, a match that Rusedski was winning. Pickard wasn't with him then, was he?
No.
That Rusedski, I think, played a lot of those backhands and played the best tennis that I've seen him play. He really hit through the ball. Sampras would give him a few kicks, and Rusedski was able to play that sort of backhand then. Not that one, because that's just the slice, but the one that David was describing. And it's the sort of tennis, really, that he's got to find in order, I think, to propel himself further up the rankings. And there it is, the roll shot. Slightly different grip that he's employed. And now back to the slice. So he's offering Rosset really quite a mixture of slice and roll. And it's good to see. He's given a bit more time, of course, on this court in order to roll the ball. But it's one of the reasons why I think, and have said, that Rusedski, if he wanted to do well on clay, could do it. It's just a matter of developing a little technically, but more importantly, developing a clay court mentality.
And he, funny enough, he did, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, he had a couple of very good wins at Roland Garros, and then played Andrei Medvedev on the centre court, when Medvedev was a much better player then than he was now. Medvedev was seeded, and I think he lost in 5 sets from memory. He showed that he really could. And I think he beat Golner and Volkov in the first 2 rounds, so they certainly weren't slouches. And again, rolling through the backhand and forcing the error.
Well, one of those points where Rosset's serve was just in, and Rusedski thought may have been that initially it was going to go out. Even so, played a fine backhand, albeit a missing one. Well, Rosset very often gives the appearance, even with his red head, of being Mr. Cool about the court, and certainly played that one in that style. Not going to be fazed by a final. Almost paid for it there, because Rusedski almost made that into a difficult point in the end for Rosset.
Game Rosset.
Rosset's first ace of the match.
5 games on.
40 minutes, 5-all.
It's surprising on an indoor court that it should have taken him so long. Average last year 7.8 aces per match for Rosset, which is nowhere near Rusedski's 13.9. But a big hitter of the ball.
That's another good volley on the stretch. And there Rosset did get the double-hander to the second serve. My word. A little smile from Rosset. I don't think he can believe what's going on at the far end.
Yeah, well, we were making the point when he was playing Ivanisevic that this is the sort of game he really has to look towards getting. And the only way to do it, of course, is at some stage to begin trying to unleash it in a match or in matches.
Game Rossetski.
2 love service games in a row for Rossetski. 4th ace there.
Rossetski leads 6-5.
And Rossetski leads 6-5. Rosset will try to force a tie-break. Quelle surprise.
In 1998, the peoples of the whole world will meet in Lisbon and discover the oceans, a heritage for the future, the theme of the last World Exposition of the 20th century. In 1998, in Lisbon, Portugal, Expo 98. Dive into the future.
Time for a regrip for Marc Rosset. 5-6 down the opening set of this best of 5 set final in the European Community Championship against Greg Rusedski. It's all very well, isn't it? You made the very valid point there. You can play these roll shots, these drive shots in practice, and you can look great. And Steffi Graf has rolled her backhands beautifully. I've watched so many practice sessions, but to have the confidence to do it in a match is what it's all about.
Yes, you've almost got to be prepared to lose a few matches. I know it can be very painful and can hurt the bank balance, but it'll reap dividends in the long run.
5-6. I don't think either of these men have got to worry too much about their bank balances. Ah, yes. Rosset's career earnings $4.7 million. Rusedski's 2.7.
Yes, and some might say becoming a little predictable, but it's won a couple of points, taking the pace off and making Rosset play the no-pace volley. So no harm in trying it again. But generally it'll be a bit more effective to Rosset's backhand side if you can get it there.
15.
Third double fault.
15-30.
And the second time in this set that Rosset's come up with 2 doubles in a game, and Rusedski really must take advantage of this.
Yes, he looks so cool, Rosset, but of course you know that internally he's seething. There will be a little explosion if he loses this.
30 all.
Well, he's made some good judgments, perhaps just a little close, because of course he'd have been down set point had it landed in.
Rosset.
An interesting change of tactics here. Rosset starting to serve him volley much more. So we will indeed go to a tie-break. The 5th they've played. Rusedski leads 3-2. So it's the 6th, I should say. They played 5.
1-0.
Super point to start it.
Yes, Rosset, this shows 7-3 in tiebreak, has played 1. Rusedski 6-4.
Oh, that's poor. Excellent service return. And a real opportunity to attack.
But he's sometimes so intent, Rusedski, on getting power, it seems to me, that he's forgetting just to make a little bit more room for the shot. Not using the feet quite well enough. So much to think about, isn't there?
Well, Mr. Cool, but pretty pumped up. And he's what he's done well on this shot is vary it, hasn't he?
Well, and also Rusedski, you were complaining about Rusedski not picking a side. That time he picked a side, but unfortunately picked the wrong side. Just made his commitment a little too soon.
Again, attacking the strength of Rosset, because you can see that Rosset edges further and further over to the backhand side.
Well, Rosset mad, really. He knows he should have won that point. He should have been looking to use his forehand with power.
3 to Rusedski.
Sometimes he waits just a little too long, Rosset, because he gets into perhaps an almost defensive mentality, a neutral mentality. He needs to perhaps attack just a little sooner with the forehand.
3-all.
He's not missing those forehands by much, but he is missing them.
Yes, just a little short of time, and of course that's not surprising when Rosset does get the first serve in. He's getting it in with a lot of power, and Rusedski's trying to work the forehand a bit more, trying to lengthen the swing just a little bit.
No, don't soften the balls. Court's slow enough, we don't need soft balls. 3-all, that's that tie break. Well, I must confess, I thought the serve was long.
Yeah, I think that went through Rosset's mind.
Return right onto the line, and Rusedski has the mini break. 4-3.
Rosset.
And now 3 set points.
6-3. Rossetski.
Well, that's a huge slice of fortune. And Greg can't hide the grin. 7-3, he wins the tie-break. And Rusedski has the first set after 51 minutes of play.
Well, I think he made his luck because you can see there that had he played his usual chip-type shot, Rusedski, that ball wouldn't have gone over. So I think one could say that fortune just favoured the brave then. And Rosset left his bravery until a little bit late. I was saying he wasn't attacking early enough in the point with the forehand there. He looked to do it, and of course he had it won bar the net cord, one would assume. And so in many ways I think Rusedski a deserved winner of the set. Rosset just a little too laid back, and Rusedski on the other hand looking to work the ball a little each time. And certainly the one return in the tiebreaker off a very hard Rosset serve perhaps just tilted it in his favour.
Lucy Connor is a drama student. I was talking to her a few weeks back, and she's doing Chekhov at the moment. Never got into Chekhov myself. What about you, Fru? What's your tastes in theatre?
Well, I enjoyed the Cherry Orchard. And just recently saw one of the best plays I've ever seen, All My Sons, at the Bristol Old Vic. Outstanding.
Second set then, Rosset, of course, who won last year's final in the straight sets. He's not going to do that this year. But important for Rusedski here, because in each of his first 3 matches this week against Arazi, against Raux and against Johansson, he won the first set and then lost his serve early in the second to get his opponents right back into the match. First overrule of the match from Romano Grolotti. Yeah, it's good volleying.
13 left.
It's a very good point, because that's a super shot from Rusedski. What Rosset really has to do, get a far higher percentage of first serves, cut out those doubles. He's given Rusedski too much scope.
Second ace from Rosset. And also his second love service game of the match. And ironically, the first was his first service game of the first set. Rusedski now in that lovely position that he's virtually got no points at all to defend until the Stella Artois Championships in the Queen's Club 2 weeks before Wimbledon, because of course in San Jose he got injured. I seem to remember he won a round in St. Petersburg, which was played a little later, and then couldn't, in doing so, actually aggravated the injury and had to pull out of the second round. So that's the only match he won in between San Jose and Queens. So he's got a few free weeks in which to try and push his way back into the top 5, which he desperately wants to do. He is playing in Rotterdam the week after next, so he's got 2 more indoor tournaments before he heads to North America and the first Mercedes Super 9s of the Indian Wells and Key Biscayne. And we'll be bringing you coverage of every day of those Super 9s. Frew will be with me for Indian Wells, and then with Simon Reed for Key Biscayne. Love 1, second set.
Had a good view of the right arm of Rosetsky there, really keeping it up just that little bit longer. And that's when he can really produce those massive serves.
His 5th ace.
Rosetsky.
So Rosetsky, after saving those 3 break points in the 3rd game of the match, now into a pattern of holding serves pretty comfortably. In his last 4 service games, he's dropped 2 points.
Well, a shot missed really through increasing confidence. Really liked the way he almost brushed the return aside. It came right at him, but he had enough strength in the wrist.
On.
5 doubles now from Rosset.
And of course he's in the enviable position now, Rosetsky, of being able to tee off a bit more, that being a set-up. If he gets these second serves, he can try and hit them that much harder.
It's funny, about 18 months ago you just couldn't imagine Rosetsky winning a point like that from the baseline. Really has improved his ground shot game. Of course, there's a big scope for further improvement, but it is a different Rossetski. I mean, I remember him losing, I think it was to Henrik Drakeman in the first round of the US Open in 1996, and the poor fella couldn't hit a ground shot to save his life. And I really, frankly, expected him to be dropping out of the world's top 100 instead of making the top 5.
40-30.
Well, it just goes to show what a really outstanding serve can do for you. So, as I've often said, the foundation around which most people would like to build their games.
Oh. Huge power from Rosset, good serving and following it up well. So still we await the first break of serve of the match. Rusedski leads by a set to love, Rosset by 2 games to 1.
Die C-Klasse ist jetzt noch schöner, sicherer und komfortabler geworden. Formel-1-Fahrer Mika Häkkinen testet, ob sie auch dynamischer ist.
Morgen spielen wir aber Tennis.
Ja, klar.
We're keeping you up late, Marc. Welcome back to Eurosport's live coverage of the final of the European Community Championship. Marc Rosset a set down, 2-1 up against Greg Rusedski. No breaks to serve so far. Rusedski winning the first set on the tie-break, but it certainly wasn't all serve dominated. If you weren't with us for the first set, Rusedski had 4 break points, Rosset 3.
Rosset looks as if he's calling for something at some stage. The umpire getting onto his walkie-talkie.
New balls.
Perhaps he's asking for an alarm clock.
15 left.
Perhaps time to just say that with Rusedski really bamboozling Rosset with that serve, this year in the 5 tournaments that Rosset's played, he's lost 3 times to left-handers, lost to Rusedski, lost to Ivanisevic, and lost to Michael Tebbett. And ordinarily one would say that he should have problems with left-handers, who of course can get to his backhand a lot more easily.
That's good power on the forehand. Hit that flatter. Of course, it was off a high bounding ball.
Game Rossetski.
6 ace, 213 kilometers an hour.
2 games on.
And a 4th love service game for Rusedski, and 3 of his last 4 have been to love.
Well, it was a great second serve, but perhaps a little too close for comfort, remembering his double faults. Just a little slow there to make up his mind to move to that Rossetski. A little slow onto his bicycle.
30-15.
It's a long way down when you're 6'7", a low bounding ball.
And it just illustrates how low the ball can stay on this court if you get under it, apply that slice.
Oh, gosh. That wasn't even close. So that's 6 double faults now.
Yes, it's I'm sure beginning to worry him. Any more of those, and we might well see some or some violent reaction. So if it's not too violent.
40-13.
That's the best reaction. Third ace. Yep, terrific serving in the end.
Rosset 3-2.
Very careful, both of them, of serving well over the 200 kilometres an hour mark.
It's probably the ideal sort of surface, really, having said that I think it really favours Rosset, and this is what he was calling for. But I'm not sure what it is. I think it's head rather than physical.
Per Bastholz, the trainer. He's a Dane, although he's also the physio to the Swedish Davis Cup team. I often tease him about that. I say, when's your country good enough for you?
I suppose he tells you you've got a lot of room to speak with a Canadian playing for Britain.
Yes, it could have been Britain against Denmark if they went down 3-2 to the Ukraine, so it'll be Britain against the Ukraine in Newcastle the first weekend of April. The worrying news for the Ukraine is that Andrei Medvedev's got an ankle injury which has forced him to pull out of Battersea next week. I suppose after the injury problems that Britain had last year when Henman and Rusedski were both forced to miss the tie with Zimbabwe, I think that was only balancing things off. 2-3, second set. Yeah, there he had time to play the big forehand.
Last 15.
Yes, exactly.
And it's the first time Ross has won the first point of a Rosetsky service game. And obviously the first time he's had love 30.
Well, he was going through all kinds of actions, as we saw, as he went back to his return of serve position, flicking two-handers, flicking one-handed backhands, shadow boxing, as it were.
15-13.
And I think he's now got a problem with, perhaps he split the nail. That could be painful. That little bit of skin by the nail, which, you know, can be very, very sore.
Fault.
The line judge indicating that he was unsighted there. Good call from Romano Grotti. Two break points for Rosset.
15-14.
Well, certainly against the run of play, but of course it's come about chiefly because Rusedski hasn't come up with the big serve.
13-14.
Which he now does.
Rosset gets the first break of serve of the match, and he's right back in it. 4-2.
Well, it's clever play by Rosset, because having run round the back and played one down the Rusedski forehand side, he runs round this one and hooks it to Rusedski, really keeping Rusedski off balance, keeping him guessing. But that was a bad service game. He's let his opponent in, really. He needed the aces, he needed more first serves. And apart from one, it was dry.
Left.
It's a very fine forehand to set that one up. Again, really catching Rosset leaning the other way.
15 on.
Fifth ace. And suddenly Rosset is starting to serve a lot better.
40-15.
That was much too obvious. Rusedski was anticipating that one.
There's a fine little feint here right at the end by Rusedski, almost as if you can see he's moving his body to the right, and just the left arm puts and places the ball down the line.
Seventh ace.
Yes.
Seventh double.
Advantage Rosset.
Oh, yes. That's terrific play.
Yes.
Well, made possible initially by the good return, but then really the improvement on the backhand from a couple of weeks ago, so very evident.
Advantage Rosset. Game Rosset.
3 successive games for Marc Rosset.
Il est 5-2.
And the Swiss very much in the driving seat now in the second set. Leading by 5 games to 2. And Rossetski now serving to stay in this second set. That's Chris volley.
30 left.
Second double fault from Rusedski.
And that was an unusual second serve. Really taking a lot off it, giving it a lot of air, because he wasn't coming in.
So Rusedski re-establishes normal service on his serve, holding to 15, but of course that one poor service game could cost him the set. This is Rosset's opportunity to serve it out. 5-3.
The improvement on the serve came with initially with the flat one from Rosset, but now he's serving a few away to the backhand side as well.
Oh, that's a super return. Nothing wrong with that serve at all.
15 off.
There he is, looking for that flat one again. These are points now that are must win, of course, for Rossetski.
Left. Second serve.
Didn't hit through the ball, stopped on it. It was a much more tentative shot. Interesting there, when Rossetski came in much more down the middle through, that Rosset didn't go for one of his single-handed passes. He seems to like that only if he's very wide.
Yes, well, there wasn't, he goes for it when he's a little pressured. There he had more time, more options. And it wasn't a bad choice of shot by Rosset. Didn't miss it by much. But at least Rusedski had learned from the mistake of his previous backhand slice and got that one right.
It's lazy. If you were going to run round it, you had to do it properly and hit through it. And it's set point.
Yeah, I think it was a huge change of mind by Rossetski. Fatal hesitation.
It's 1-all after an hour and 22 minutes. Marc Rosset wins the second set, 6 games to 3.
In the second set, Rosset, 6 games to 3.
Well, the coach is being told the finger's wrong, the stringing's wrong, but he still won the set.
Yeah, something's right.
Yes.
I must admit that 2-all and 30-all, he just served a double, Rosset. He seemed to be really struggling. He seemed to be a real opportunity for Rusedski. But suddenly, he found his service. And he found his while Rusedski lost his. And I think that's what has brought this match back to par.
We're always looking back over previous matches. The hints, I suppose. One thing has to be said here, proves that Greg Rusedski has never won a best-of-5 set final. Whereas Marc Rosset has. He won here last year, that was best-of-5. He won the Olympic final, of course, which was best-of-5.
How many has Rusedski lost?
2, that I'm aware of. Of course, the final of Vienna last year, where he was 2 sets to love up, and the final of the US Open. He lost in 4 sets to Patrick Rafter.
Yes, of course, the vast majority of ATP Tour finals are best-of-3.
Place already, thank you.
Third and final set. Third and final set. I've got that on the brain now. Third set. Not the final set. It cannot be the final set.
15 left.
Get so used to saying it.
Yeah.
For the very reason.
30 left.
8th ace.
$40 left.
So they've both had one very lucky net cord. Really takes a less than genuine grin. Rusedski's was rather more important, coming as it did on set point. Well, that's a positive start to the third set for Greg Rusedski, and Marc Rosset still unhappy about various things, even though he's drawn a level at 1-all. Still fiddling with that finger is Marc Rosset.
Yes, it's often a sore point with a player, the inside of the thumb, just on the inside of the knuckle. It obviously takes a lot of pressure, a lot of wear and tear.
Love one. 1-7.
Almost as if he was feeling it then, and very aware of it. They've both informed players, both having reached finals in St. Petersburg and in Split. In fact, it's a little bit like the Australian final, wasn't it, with Rios and Korda, players who were in form.
Love 30.
Oh dear. And this is a very poor game from Rosset.
Love 40.
And for the second time in the match, Rusedski has love 40, and his facial expressions tell you just how important it is that he converts this time.
15, 14.
No thing you can do about that. Except say too good. Sixth ace.
First service.
It's certainly the serve he's favoured, both down the middle line on the left court and also on this right court. And a very welcome first serve. This means that Rusedski's got that little bit less time for the return of serve.
Well, it's a pity from Rusedski's point of view. He got hold of that first serve. But he's got his first break of the match.
Rossetski. Il est plus là.
Yes, and once again the great difference there is between these players when they come to play a second serve is illustrated. Immediate hold, 3 missed first serves, down love 40, just as Rossetski found himself in trouble in that second set.
Love 15.
Into double figures in aces. And there again, another one of those heavily flighted, heavily kicked serves. Now a very big point. Huge difference here for Rusedski to move 3 love up, all for Rosset to break straight back. So Rosset having sort of lured Rusedski forward, rather like a spider luring a fly into the web, would have been disappointed to miss the forehand.
Game Rosset.
Rusedski leads by 3 games to love. In the third set,
Rossetski leads
it's 1 set all.
New balls.
Driving through dark forests in snow and ice with your foot flat on the floor is on the edge of madness. But then these boys are used to driving on the edge. The FIA World Rally Championship, the Sweden Rally, Sunday, 22:30 CET, that's 9:30 UK. With Ford.
Welcome back. There's the situation. 1 set all, 3 love. Greg Rusedski leads in the third of a potential 5 sets in this final in Antwerp. More news from the Guardian Direct Cup in Battersea. Of course, qualifying has been going on over the weekend, and from a British point of view, good news, Chris Wilkinson has got through the qualifying. 2 German players have qualified. Rainer Schuttler, the man who beat Tim Henman in Split, and David Prinazil, and Kenneth Carlsen, the Dane. He's qualified as well. But a good effort from Chris Wilkinson to come through the qualifying. We don't as yet know, they haven't been spaced in the draw, but I can tell you that one of them will play Peter Korda, one of them will play Martin Dam, one of them will play Goran Ivanisevic, and one of them will play Wayne Ferreira. And I would suspect, without being unfair to the Czech, that all 4 of them will be saying, please let it be Martin Dam.
I would say so, yes.
New balls, love 3. Wayne Ferreira, incidentally, is in the doubles final here. He's playing with Yevgeny Kavelnikov against the Spaniards Carbonell and Roig.
Fifteen left.
Well, again, as soon as he hits that shot now, he's looking down at that thumb problem. So he's clearly in a bit of pain. I'm surprised he hasn't put a plaster on it. I know it would rub, but you can change it every 2 games. And again.
15-30.
Good idea. We saw on the first point Rossetski returning a missed first serve. A very good idea when you're looking to improve your return of serve in match play, trying to hit through balls, take advantage of any missed first serves.
30
by returning them as often as you can. Of course, what it very often does as well is really irritate the server.
But you weren't doing that at all, were you, when you were playing for it?
No, never.
Never wanted to get under the skin of your opponent?
No, not done.
Gosh, I thought that was good. And so did Rosset.
I think if he was convinced, he might have said a bit more.
So now then,
30-40.
break point for Rossetski for a second successive break, and that really ought to decide this third set.
What with his serve, that's sticking your neck out a bit, isn't it?
You know, and I remember Tim Henman being 4-love up in the first set against Carol Kuchera, and we were all saying, oh, well, that's the first set racked away.
Now, that's an example of where he might well have. He was just flicking at that one. He wasn't looking to play a decent return, but he might well have tried.
Advantage Rusedski.
An 8th double fault and a second break point. And calling for the stringerling at this time would have nothing to do with holding up the opponent at break point, would it, sir?
Last thing on his mind, I should say.
That's very well played by Rosset. It was a decent service return and he made a terrific volley, and then Rusedski had a good backhand, and again Rosset equal to it.
Advantage Rusedski.
Yes, that was close, but just long.
And all credit to Rosset. He keeps getting the first serve in on the break points. And that's what we mean by playing the big points well. You wouldn't say that Rusedski's squandered any of these chances. Rosset saved them all. Well, that's a brilliant point. And a fourth chance.
It was a super return because he'd been dragged wide, and the important thing here was that he got himself there with plenty of time to spare. He could have done a number of shots, the lob included.
Yes.
Well, I think he possesses tremendous judgment as Rosset, because he undoubtedly left this. Best brain in the business.
And again, Rusedski plays the point well. Fifth break point, and he'll be probably saying he's got to miss the first serve on one of these days.
Well, that was very, very close, but just got enough of the line, thanks to his lucky stars. Rossetski wasn't over the ball. You can see head up just a little bit, perhaps because it was so deep. Now, it's one facet of the game where Rossetski this year has been pretty good at breaking his opponent's serves. When he's had the break point, he's taken them much more effectively even than last year.
Not today, though. He's had 12 break points in the match and one break.
Fault. Advantage Rusedski.
Little fault number 9 from Rosset.
10.
Maybe could have been a bit more aggressive with the return.
Yes, it wasn't a bad return by his standards, but there just seemed a little lack of commitment. Perhaps again it was a change of mind. Had gone down the line perhaps a few too many times. Figured he'd try one cross court.
Out. Advantage Rusedski.
Beginning to remind me a bit of his match against Ivan Isovic in Vienna.
Yes, when he had all those break points, and again in the third set, different scenario, because of course he was 2 sets to love up then. But this is the 7th of this game. And this time he takes it. And Rossetski leads by 4 games to love in the third set.
Yes, one could look at the scoreline. Rossetski ahead 3-love in this set and say, well, he really didn't perhaps need that, but we all know how much more comfortable it is to be 2 serve up, and of course it just destroys a little bit more of the opponent's confidence. Makes him remember his sore thumb, perhaps. Important just to try and keep him down if he can.
15 left.
11 aces now. And suddenly that one-handed backhand has lost its magical touch.
Yes, he's probably not going to look to try and find it too much in this set now. For Rosset, the set's gone.
40 left. Hold. Rossetski.
First love service game of this third set. 5th of the match for Rossetski, and he leads by 5 games to love in the third set at 1-all. Tony Pickard and Lucy Connor, Greg's girlfriend. Tony didn't go to split because Greg made a late decision to go there. And Tony saying that Stefan Edberg's giving him a hard time. He says when you've lost some weight, you're obviously having to work hard on the court.
Who? Tony Pickard's lost weight?
Yeah.
Well, I think his decision to go to split as a wild card was a good one, because not only did it enable him to reach the final, but it's given him the confidence, an indoor final, to take into an event like this. And chances are that had he not made the final in split, he might well not have been in the final here, given the sort of route, the difficult route he's had through this event, slow at court. So these wild cards have done the men well. Krajcek taking a wild card into St. Petersburg, winning that.
So love 5. Still you feel important for Rosset to hold here. One, just to hold serve once in the set, and also to be serving first at the start of the 4th. Assuming that Rossetski served it out at 5-1. Although Rosso is such a laid-back sort of guy on and off the court that you might say, oh, well, that doesn't really matter too much.
Yes, I think you're right. I think he's not the calculating type. And also it's a matter of mindset. It's not easy to rip the mind back into position. Once the set over, different story.
15 all.
Oh, unlucky. That would have been a fantastic volley, and it would have made it, but for the heavy connection on the net cord.
But it shows the potential in the Rossetski return, because that serve was a really fine one. Well, I think I misjudged him. There is a bit of the calculator going on here, because he's playing this with a determination to win this game.
But it's Rusedski with break point and set point.
Yes.
Well, what's he going to do the second time round? Go for it.
It's a good second serve.
Advantage Rosset.
I'm probably able to hit the second serve with just a little bit more power now, because there is that freedom of thought. Sort of, well, if I miss it, so what? Set's gone anyway.
Game Rosset.
Rosset avoids the bagel, the love set.
Rusedski leads 5-1.
But Rusedski will serve for it at 5-1. Mind you, he was 5-1 up against Karol Kuchera yesterday and served for the match. Actually got it at the second time of asking. So he won't want to open the door at full here for Rosset. That's a good, solid service game, lots of first serves. Well, it was a clean ace. The line judge has corrected his call.
In which case, of course, it should be 30 love, which I think it was in.
Yes, I think so too. He was down as a 12th ace. It's 5 aces from Rusedski in the set. It's his best set in terms of aces. Four in the first set, 3 in the second.
40-15.
2 more set points.
I think Rusedski
14-13.
paying the penalty for trying to be a little Rosset cool-like.
Left for set.
Oh, super shot. One of the best rallies of the match, that. Great defence from Rosset. But in the end, Rusedski claims set number 3. 6 games to 1. And after an hour and some 53 minutes, he leads by 2 sets to 1.
Rusedski leads 2 sets to 1.
Well, it was a strange old set, really, wasn't it? Because they've got it up incorrectly. Of course, it was 6-1, not 6-love. But with Rosset having taken the second set, you'd have expected him perhaps to be on a high. But on the other hand, I felt Rusedski had his opportunities early in that set, and perhaps just the little extra effort that it took by Rosset to, as it were, overcome that obstacle, that even a psychological obstacle, took a lot out of him, so that he started the third set really pretty abysmally on his serve, where his serve had picked up in the second, so it went back to where it started the match in many ways, and from then it just was all downhill for Rosset. And Rusedski, of course, with the freedom to go for his shots a little bit more, found that he again had a lot more scope. Now, can he overcome that sore thumb? Got to feel a bit for the crowd, because there were 3 Belgians in the draw here. They all went out in the first round. Jan van Herk, Philip de Wolf, and Dick Norman, 2 of whom were given wild cards. None into the second round.
Fourth set, Rosset set.
Love 15.
And he certainly has made some telling returns off the second serve. 1 or 2 good ones off the first too, Rusedski. And Rosset convinced it was out on the baseline.
He almost played it as an afterthought, not hearing the call, and he then felt that he had to play it. Didn't have a good view of it himself.
It wasn't that shot, it was the one before, of course.
30 all.
This was the shot that he thought was out. Oh, no, that's inside the line.
40-13.
And it has to be remembered that you've got an unprejudiced eye, of course.
Well, just on the official side.
First service.
No, that's a nice little shot. Well, good effort from Rosset. There was a glimmer of a chance there for Rusedski at 15-30. But Rosset held serve in the opening game of the fourth set. So Rusedski off for a loo break. So that gives us a chance to tell you about the tennis coming up the rest of the week on Eurosport. Tomorrow we'll be bringing you two finals from the United States. Andre Agassi against Pete Sampras from last Sunday in San Jose, and the match to be played tonight. Michael Chang against Marc Philippoussis in Memphis, and we'll have the highlights of both matches. And then we start our coverage of the Guardian Direct Cup from Battersea Park on Tuesday at 6 o'clock UK time, and then it's the same on Wednesday and Thursday, and then live coverage over the weekend. And let me remind you, there's a terrific field with Peter Korda, Patrick Rafter, Yevgeny Kavelnikov, Greg Rosetsky, Richard Krajcek, Sergei Bruguera, Karol Kuchera and Goran Ivanisevic, the 8 seeds. And I think it's fair to say, Drew, that the person who's going to be seeded 8th in Philadelphia, depending on possible wild cards, wouldn't have even got in the draw direct in Battersea.
Yes, which is a great shame, really, because whilst I'm pleased that London's got the draw it has, Philadelphia is such a long-standing tournament, the US Pro Indoors. I'm not sure whether it's still called that, but that's what it used to be called forever, where many people have made their marks, where many of the great players have been, and a shame really that they've got or are playing such a second fiddle to London.
Yes, it certainly illustrates, doesn't it, the shift in the balance of power in the game. I mean, if one goes back 10, 15, 20 years, maybe there would have been 30 Americans direct into the draw at Wimbledon.
Yes, they've certainly been ousted to a certain extent by the Spaniards and Europeans generally. Although their man is still, of course, top of the table in Sampras. And many people will be hoping that with Agassi now up around about 50 in the world, that he'll be a force in the game too.
Yes, it's so good to see Andre back and performing at the level that he is. So let's remind you of the score, in case you've just tuned in. So Rosetsky leads by 2-1. He's serving now love 1 in the fourth set. This is clever tactics now from Rosset. He's quite often chipping and coming into the Rosetsky backhand.
Left. First service.
That's a good pass, but of course off the forehand side.
15 all.
It was a really good shot by Rosetsky, because he might have felt the pressure here. Love 15 down. Controlled it nicely. No first serves though since he's been off the court.
Seeing that Rosset is starting to chip and charge the returns, Rosetsky risking coming in behind his second to the forehand.
14-16.
Yes, I'm not sure that he'd actually deliberately served to the forehand and come in behind it. It's Rosset who's making room to play the ball on the forehand.
Rossetski.
Ace number 13.
1-0.
And finally coming up with the goods on the serve, but otherwise it was missed first serves all the way. And really a game in which Rosset ought to have made a bit of hay.
It always looks good, the hot dog. It seldom wins you the point.
Lost 15.
Yes, I think he was pretty dead anyway, but he might well have put up a defensive lob. Would have been the smart thing to do, but there's always a bit of the showman in Rosset. One might say he was a sitting duck for a lob, but remember he's very tall, and it was a fine shot by Rusedski.
Oh, gosh.
Love 30.
He's into double figures now in terms of double faults, and that's just about his wildest. Looks to be nearer the service, nearer the baseline than it was the service line. We haven't seen much of that in this match. The serve into the body, it was a good one. Nice touch.
30.
Well, he played it brilliantly, and it had to be because Rusedski anticipated it. There was really naught that he could do. Really got in behind the ball, cut across it.
Once again, two double faults in a game. And here's Rossetski with the first opportunity to break in this fourth set. And now Rossetski is in the driving seat. He leads by 2 sets to 1 and 2 games to 1 with a break of serve.
A Gillette World Cup Dream Team. Who would you choose? Our expert panel has shortlisted 4 players in the following positions: goalkeeper, central defender, playmaker, striker. You be the manager. Call the Eurosport line now and select one player for each position. Eurosport, Gillette and Opel give you the chance to win an Opel Corsa. Take the Gillette World Cup Challenge.
Marc Rosset with plenty to ponder at this change of ends, having now lost his serve for the 3rd time in 4 service games, in 5 service games I should say. But a long way to go yet. One wants to see, in particular, from the British point of view, and stuck an over, but don't swallow it. Could be a little unpleasant. I want to see Rusedski emphasising the break by holding serve. So important to do that.
La 15.
Ironic, a foot fault called off what would have been a winning service return.
Ball pretty late too.
Yeah.
That's his second serve. It's a beautifully judged and played lob by Rosset. He actually got a bit of roll on it.
The only other time Rosetsky has loved 30 down on serve was the only time he's lost his serve in the match.
La 40.
Well, he needed to find something special on the volley, particularly that forehand volley from a difficult position, but it wasn't there.
15, 14.
As he left it a little bit late with the first serve and the aces.
14th ace, he needs two more.
30, 14.
I think that's brilliant because it's using what he's really known for, what he's got more of than anybody else. Even Isevic apart.
Still needs to hold serve though.
But as some would say, if you're down break points, you've got to get your first serve in, particularly if it's Rosset, who's got a slightly dodgy backhand, but that's denying your great strength.
Well, that's a huge game for Rosetsky to have won from love 40. Just when it seems as if Rosset was going to force his way back into the match for a second time. Just what will that will have done for the man from Switzerland's confidence.
Yes, because it has a slightly demoralizing effect, really giving Rosset a bit of his own medicine, of course, because he too can serve the aces when needed. But he's not as successful as Rosetsky in saving break points. Hasn't quite got the magic.
And it's good play all round. Rosset having to play perhaps one or even two more shots than he was expecting. It was a lovely first volley from Rosset. I think Rosetsky guilty there of looking at the line rather than the ball. But a good effort here from Rosset, because he thought he might have been so psychologically down after that last game. Far from it. Played a super game so far. Yep, excellent. 7th ace. And just his third love service game of the match. Rosetsky's still got work to do. 3-2.
Score is unbelievable. It's exciting. It's icy, man. Competitive. Very, very competitive.
NASCAR is back on Eurosport.
Growing.
Rockingham, the first race of the season, live this Sunday at 18:30 CET, 5:30 UK on Eurosport.
With Deu.
I must say, I was very impressed by Rosset in that last game through.
Yes, he's certainly showing resilience, the ability to bounce back. We saw him bouncing on his toes, trying to get the old pistons working. Of course, he's played a lot less tennis this week than Rusedski. If anybody, it's Rusedski who should be feeling it a little bit physically, but then when you're 2 sets to 1 up, of course, you tend to forget your pain a little bit. Rosset so good at defending titles, and one can see why in that, from that last game. Desperate to hang in. Rusedski going to be very difficult to stop though, providing he keeps up the big serving.
Yes, he rather needs the big serves at the start of a service game, doesn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't want to test himself ultimately.
Yes. This makes life more comfortable all round. Interesting that Rusedski's continued with the one bounce of the ball, which we saw in split. Serving now with new balls. 3-2. It's easily dribbled over.
It would have been a very lucky one because he didn't deserve it, did he? He really just pushed at it. And there wasn't any snap as there was in that.
And might actually make it 17, but
serve is way out, surely.
And once again, as so often happens, we get a pair of love service games. It's 6 for Rusedski.
Rusedski thought it was a left, but no indication. You can see why Rosset is always a threat to the top players in the game. He's got a very good record against top tenors. They do not enjoy playing him.
So 3 successive love service games. What was it? 8th ace for Marc Rosset. And Rusedski's lead is cut to 4-3.
Yes, lifetime against top tenors. He's 25 matches, won 37 loss. Now, that's a pretty respectable record. That's against players ranked in the top 10 in the world, Rosset. And of course, it's done on the strength of his serve and forehand. And I think it's probably often very frustrating for opponents, knowing that he's got the weakness on the backhand side, that he's still nevertheless able to threaten them and beat them so often. And probably just adds to their frustration.
That's a lovely ring that Lucy's wearing. I haven't heard that they're officially engaged, but they've been together a long time. They first met when she was a ball kid in a junior tournament. He was playing just before Wimbledon juniors. And she was very much a part of his decision to move to London, and subsequently, of course, to take up his British option, having a British mother and therefore a British passport.
Of course, the camera particularly keen on the diamond on her ring and on the racket. This Antwerp's very much a diamond centre.
4-3. Full set, leading by 2-1.
Love 15.
Third successive game. He's lost the first point twice in the last 3 games. He's lost his point on serve.
15 off.
Slow away.
That's a fine point because he got the return low. Rosset didn't make too bad a volley here from a difficult position, and then just let that one rip. Then just drop it, drop the arm a little quickly.
Quickly.
That's the super serve because it's the unexpected one.
First service.
That was quick. Down the centre. So the ace is really flowing in this third set. 8.
Elite 5-3.
Total is up to 20, and Greg Rusedski is 1 game from the title.
No, it says a lot for his conditioning. Final last week. A lot of tennis this week. 116 games coming into this final.
Left.
Now, through on your rules, did he deserve or not deserve that net court? Was it fortune favouring the brave, or?
No, it wasn't. I think he was lucky there.
.30-15.
12th double fault. And it's the first point he's conceded in 3 service games.
40-50.
Well, when he's mastered that one, then he'll know he really can drive through the ball, because it's so much more difficult when it rears up at you.
Game Rosset.
So we come to the crunch of the match. When you rejoin us, Greg Rossetski leading 5-4 in the fourth set. Will be serving for the title.
Milka Ski Fun with World Cup stars. Play with Eurosport and Milka every week and win a holiday for two at the Milka Ski Camping Rund Zellamsee in the region of Salzburg, or one of 11 pairs of Milka carving skis. Call now, and good luck.
Mach mit, dann steigen wir zu Milka Ski.
So for Marc Rosset, the equation is simple. He has to break serve here. And what will Tony Pickard be trying to impart, trying to get the mental vibes across to Rusedski?
Well, what I think he should be trying to do is tell Rossetski not to be taking much off the ball here, really to be going for it. He doesn't want to allow Rosset, who is keen to get back into it naturally, understandably. And could he just slow the serve down a little bit, there is that opportunity. And if he is to slow it down, of course, he surely has to do it to the backhand side.
Serving for the match.
$15 love.
21. Oh dear, what an opportunity. Didn't punch through the volley at all.
No, he knew exactly where Rosset's forehand was going. He got around behind it, but as you say, just caressed the ball rather than going for it.
Out. 30-15.
Two championship points.
Already, thank you. Thank you.
He's done it.
Second match for Rusedski.
Well, that's another huge win for Rusedski.
46, 36, 6-1, 6-4.
Tremendous effort when you think he was 5 match points down in the second round. And all sorts of questions on Rusedski coming into this year, having done so well last year. Slightly disappointing in Doha, disappointing at the Australian Open, but boy has he bounced back in the last 2 tournaments.
Yes, it's a terrific effort considering that the tournament in Split was played on a pretty fast court the week before last, and of course this one that much slower. And nice to see Rossetski overcoming, and surely it must be one of his favorite environments, which is indoor tennis. And playing against somebody who's defending a type of here, and not often that Rosset doesn't successfully do it. So Rosset was trying his utmost. But Rossetski just with that much power, and after a week of a lot of tennis, showing great strength really, and fighting his way through here.
So let me remind you that tomorrow we have